this is Nafaria Siren. We're here at KinkyCon 2025 and we're going to show you how to tune your fall. So if you have a whip, chances are you got a very, very long fall that came with it, and sometimes people are like, why does my whip sound so bad? Well, the maker likely sent you a longer fall so you can cut it down to the length you prefer. Every whip cracker has a different length they prefer. This is way oversized. This is a 3-foot fall right now. We're just going to show you what a longer fall looks like. You're going to see it arcs a ton more at the end, right? It's this big loop. I throw this very slow. It gets to that here, rolls, and then opens up way too late. So I do not like how long this fall is. So I'm going to cut off about a foot of this. I'm going to cut off a foot of this fall and see what it looks like again. So this is me cutting down that 3-foot fall to a 2-foot fall. This is still going to be pretty long, excessively long for this whip, but you'll see the difference, and then I'll cut it down a little more and I'll keep going till I find a length I like. And since falls are pretty easy to make, you can, if you get too short, you'll just make another one the length you do like. So now we're going to test a 2-foot fall. Hi, we're about to test this 2-foot fall we just had put on there. So we went from a 3-foot fall where it opened up quite a bit. This will still open up a little bit, but now you can see it's a little more crisp. It's starting to pop a little better. Not quite as kind of that tightness that I would like. So I know here I would have to take off probably only about 6 more inches of this fall. So we're going to show you what happens when we tailor this whip. This is, by the way, this is going to be 4.5 feet. 5 fits about here. I'm 5'7". I have heels on right now. So this is about a 4.5-foot whip, and now I'm going to tune this popper to about 18 inches. Nafaria Siren again. So this is the fall length that I prefer for my whips, especially this 4.5-foot play whip that I like. It is a bullwhip style. I have a roller on my arm, but for most people, it's a little bit shorter than your arm length. So from the tips of my fist all the way up to where my shoulder is. So that's an 18-inch fall. If you listen to this one, we're going to do our standard baseball. Yeah, nice crisp. It has that like whacha, the standard whip sound. So with an overhead, looks like this. That has a very crisp sound to it. Now what happens if you go a little too low on that, and you cut it too short? We're going to take off another 6 inches on this fall, and you'll see what happens when you have a fall that's too short. And now we have a 12-inch fall, so it's about the length of my forearm. This one I feel is just a tad bit short. It's okay when you have like a 3-footer or a snake whip, but for a 4.5-foot bull whip, I prefer my falls a little longer than this. Now you'll see it feels kind of stumpy. It sounds okay, but it like feels like it goes a little too quick. It doesn't have the arm extension. You'll feel this more than anything else, especially when these cattleman's crack. It just like comes at you a little bit more instead of going to the full length. So yeah, it pops, but it pops a little too soon, a little bit chaotic. So then I know that I needed a little bit longer of a fall than this. So that helps me determine that I like my falls for this whip to be about 18 inches. And hopefully with tuning your fall, you discover the fall length that you want in your play whips.